This tutorial is going to show you a add-on for spreadsheets that allow you to view the results from a form a little bit differently, sometimes better. What you're looking at right here is an example of the responses to a form where we have a lot of questions which are in this row right here going across the top. Some of those questions we can just see, a portion of the question right here. Physical activities vary, but really up here we know it says important in my adult life. But the whole question is not in this row right here, and it continues to go on and 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 on. We have all these different responses here, which are the different rows to the questions above, and it's just very hard to keep track of and to analyze sometimes what an individual response is in relation to all the questions. So there's a little bit different way to view this, and that's through making each entry a separate kind of Google Doc. And the way you want to do that is you're going to go to add-ons, you're going to go to get add-ons, and the add-on that you would like to search for is called Save as Doc. You can hit enter. I'm going to see here it is right here, Save as Doc, and we can click free. You're going to accept any of the permissions that it's asking you about. Down here it's saying working, and it gives you a little bit information about that Save as Doc, so we can close this. So within the spreadsheet, and usually you're going to be dealing with this as far as responses to one of the forms. So this is the response sheet to the Health Physical Education Parent Survey form. You're going to go back to add-ons, Save as Doc, and then you're going to start. And it's going to open up a window here on the right where you're going to start dictating the settings for the document that you want to create. So the first thing it asks you to do is to select the rows, cells, rows, or columns to save. So you always want to include this top row, which is the questions, and you're going to tell it the first row of the selections contains headings. So we want to make sure that this is selected. And let's just say you wanted this as well as, the first 8. If you wanted all the entries in this form included in your document, you would just choose Select All Data. And what that does is select everything in that form. For the purpose here, I'm just going to select just 4, so it only takes a minute. The way this add-on works currently, and I assume this change will happen soon, is if I wanted the document, the questions, but then I also wanted row 6 and row 9 and row 12. You can see how I selected those, but when the document is created, it doesn't come out correctly with the questions and each heading. So you always want to select consecutive rows. So I want always the first row, and I'll just take the first 6. So I'm going to name it Save as Doc Demo. It contains headings. I want my heading style. This can be whatever you want, and I'll show you what this means once it creates it, but I'll just choose 2. Adding a page break after each row means after each entry, it will separate the page. So it won't have 2 separate responses on the same document. And I'm going to choose use these settings by default so that from now on when I open it, it will keep these settings. And then you just hit Save as Doc. You can see right down here, it's generating the document. So it's creating the document based on these responses. And now here it says it was successfully created. I can open up that document. And you can see what it does is each of these questions is here. Right? Each of the questions is here, which are up here. And I said heading 2, which means the way this looks. Heading 1 is a little bit bigger font. By heading 2, and you can see that we have the responses to each of those questions. This is much easier to review kind of the responses to that form. So you can see here was the last question. We have some empty space, and then here's that page break. So the next response starts on a new page. So that Save as Doc demo, we opened it here, but it is saved in your drive. So you can simply search for it in your drive and Here it is, save as doc demo. Right? We can, save as, and we can open it right from our drive. It's also there. So it's a different way to access the responses to forms in a much cleaner way, in essence. And from now on, since you added that add-on, it will always be there for any response. You can just save as doc and start, and there you go.